Hi everyone, I'm Tim Steckel, the founder of the Compost Marketing Agency. Thanks for tuning in today and attending Matt Power's Our Future virtual conference. I'm really happy to be here today. The lineup of speakers is incredible. Only in my dreams did I take the stage next to folks like Jeff Lawton, John Kempf, Mark Gamble, or Chris Trump. And now I'm here, so keep on dreaming, folks. And do the work, as Matt mentioned in his opening speech. Like he said, I can't do the pull-ups for you and give you the muscles. And I'm also really happy to be here today because of you. There's an incredible audience in this conference. I've been reading your comments on the other presentations, and I see folks who are invested, folks who are motivated, and folks who have been doing pull-ups already. I've created a simple worksheet that goes along with my presentation. It won't replace your own notes, but I think it'll be a good resource for you, a reminder, and primarily something to have in hand so you don't have to start from a blank page and feel blocked and not knowing where to start. The link should be in the description of the video. To be sure though, I will post it in the Circle app and share the link over there as well, and it's a Google document. After you open it, click on File and then make a copy, and it will save it to your own Google Drive. Well, enough of the housekeeping. Let's get started. As regenerative entrepreneurs, we have a lot on our plate and are multitasking a lot. Multitasking is when you work out of your brother's apartment instead of your office. You work there because his nervous system is shutting down, making him slowly more and more paralyzed from a disease we call ALS. So you're keeping watch and taking care of him while you type a speech for your next presentation. I'm telling you this because I learned that one of my regenerative heroes, the wonderful Gabe Brown, has also been diagnosed with ALS. In his opinion, this disease was triggered by decades of exposure to farming chemicals. To me, it is clear why we need a regenerative future, because our soils are as sick as our people, chronically diseased, slowly dying. And I believe, and to me it's not just a belief, I know that soil health and human health are fundamentally interlinked. The evidence is all there. We just aren't acting in a way as it was as clear as it is. You and I, we are acting, and that's why I'm here. That's why you are here. We're the driving force behind change, the change we need to regenerate our soil, to heal it, and to heal humanity too. Whenever someone asks me if this pertains to them and why they should care, I answer with a counter question. Do you like to eat? Food starts in the ground, in the soil. Food sustains human life, and soil sustains human food production. No soil, no food, no people. It's as simple as that. Right now, we're letting our topsoils degrade and erode at a rate that will most likely affect you and me, but most definitely impact my son and my daughter. Hunger is the cause of war. Healing our soil is making peace. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but let's say it. Our current conventional way of farming is waging war on our soil. It's all about killing things: pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, insecticide, nematicide, water-soluble antibiotics. Life on Earth is based on coexisting and sharing resources. Yes, the lion eats the gazelle, but the lion doesn't kill all gazelles, so the hyena won't be able to eat. A regenerative future is one where humans understand that they have more to gain by sharing nature with animals, insects, and microbes. Now, if all that I just said was so obvious and the right thing to do, then why are people continuing with the destructive way of farming? It's not because they want to destroy the planet, their health, or their children's future. No farmer wakes up and says, "Today, I'm going to go out and harm my land." No, the reasons are far more complex. For one, there's the weight of tradition and the challenge of change. Conventional farming methods have been the norm for decades now, and stepping away from them can feel like a leap of faith. It takes courage and education to transition to regenerative practices, and not everyone has access to those tools. Crop insurance is often handed to those who follow conventional protocols, and crop insurance is often required by those who lend the money to finance the next season. With only one crop failure away from bankruptcy, losing your family's farm, and embarrassment towards your neighbors, the pressure is on to conform and to do what your dad and grandpa did. And there's the issue of awareness. While the evidence linking soil health and human health is undeniable to us, many people don't see the connection yet. Or they see it but feel powerless to act. Changing minds is hard work. Changing systems is even harder. That's one thing I'm working on, and something that I want you to write down. We have to relentlessly raise awareness. We need to point out this over and over again. So let me give a big thank you to Matt Powers, the man behind our future. He has been an example of outspokenness, an example for continuous advocacy. Dig through his YouTube channel. It goes back over a decade, and there are videos with tens of thousands of views, and there are some that have just gotten a few hundreds. But he just kept on publishing. After the first book, another one, and another one, and another one. So even if you don't consider yourself a publisher or a digital creator, as a regenerative entrepreneur, you will always have to be a voice for our collective mission too. Now, let's get back to the reasons as to why the progress towards a regenerative future is slow. Let's not forget the role of chemical companies. For decades, they've marketed their products as the solution to all agriculture problems, persuading farmers to adopt the mindset of control over nature rather than partnering with it. This narrative has seeped in so deeply in our collective consciousness that undoing it is like trying to unlearn the alphabet. Finally, and this is my main point in this list, many farmers are caught in a system designed to reward short-term gains over long-term sustainability. Industrial agriculture was built first to maximize yields, and then it was also optimized for profits in the shortest amount of time possible. It's an approach that offers immediate results, but at an unsustainable cost to the land, to the ecosystems, and ultimately to humanity. Farmers are often trapped in cycles of debt, pressure to conform to the demands of large agricultural businesses and global markets, which dictate how crops are grown and sold. When I started the Compost Marketing Agency, I've said that while I'm marketing compost, I'm actually facilitating a pattern change in people's minds. And that is the difference between fertilizing plants or feeding the soil. A focus on marketing compost would be similar to the short-term focus on synthetic inputs. Helping people understand a new paradigm is going to prime them long-term and set them on a path towards a regenerative future, the one we are envisioning. But why am I telling you this? Because this is the reality in which you operate and in which you are trying to start or grow a business. I know this very well because I'm operating a business in this space. It's my full-time job, and I have to feed a family of 4 with it. I am a marketing consultant and talk to business owners like you daily. I can constantly feel the pulse of the regenerative economy. Starting a regenerative business is usually not a monetary decision, yet monetary factors dominate our lives. We all have to pay bills. So our circumstances dictate that we operate at a profit for ourselves, or we won't be able to sustain the work that we are doing. Sure, there are grants and other types of support we can look towards, like a spouse who's working a normal job to pay the bills, so you can launch the business. But that only can be a temporary solution to get you started. Eventually, you have to make ends meet, because otherwise you will become burned out, become demotivated, and maybe have to even close your business again. We all have a solid case for the work that we do, but not everyone here has a solid business case. There are a few things that you can do to verify the viability of your business that are very easy to do, but because a lot of us are headed into this with the wonderful attitude of, I want to make this work, we rather act naive. So grab a piece of paper now. We're going to do some essential business planning together. I've met many business owners who didn't even use some simple napkin math to predict their opportunities. And this often goes back to the fact that you are opportunistic and just jump at what's out there, again, trying to make it work because of your mission. Instead of having productized services, you are going to tailor it specific to the needs of your customers, which is just another way of saying, I'm letting my clients lead me and putting together what they need instead of telling them what they need. I'm going to react to them instead of doing this proactively. I know what I'm talking about because I've made this mistake myself. You've got a lead on your hands and see the opportunity to finally get to work with this potential client, so you're just focused on landing them by any means necessary, even if that means that you have to cut back things that you should include in what you want to do just to meet their budget. And this leads to your business being driven by the customers and not yourself. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I have a strong customer orientation myself, and my ultimate goal is always to work within their budget to make it work for them. But as a business owner, this makes your results totally unpredictable. The consequence of this is that 50% of folks get lucky and the results are good enough for them to feed your family. And on the other hand, this means that 50% end up working at the poverty level. All of this can be prevented by using napkin math and a simple financial forecast. How much do I need to earn in order for me to be able to pay my bills and put aside some money for future investments or emergencies? Unless you've got this written down somewhere already, pause this video and take 60 seconds to write down your actual monthly expenses, both personal and on your business side. Be honest with yourself. This is your private number. Be realistic with it. And I know it might take more than 60 seconds to inventory all your expenses, but I just want you to get started on this. I want you to have this on your desk as a reminder. Again, I've heard so many people in our community say that I don't need much, which is often true. But then again, look at the cost of healthcare, inflation in the grocery stores, housing, transportation. I'm also a humble guy who doesn't need much. I wear old clothes that are 15 years old, but I need money to travel to conferences. I need money to buy equipment and to pay for software. People who say that they don't need to earn a lot of money are the same people who believe that money is bad. Yes, money corrupts people. It's the reason for suffering, war, and injustice. Yet, it's the universally accepted method of exchanging value and to pay for goods and services. Denying yourself a proper wage to set the bar higher for your income isn't evil. Money doesn't care if you are honest or lying. It doesn't care if you're snoring. It also doesn't care if you are an atheist or praising a god. Money in itself is just a note that promises value in exchange. Is the financial system questionable? Yes. Will you be able to break that system by denying yourself access to more money? No. Do I favor a different system in which money couldn't work for others and make more money just from money without creating any extra actual value, like a product or rendering a service? Absolutely. I'm not trying to convince you to change your moral compass here. But I have been self-employed for 20 years. And if I have learned one thing from that, it is that you have to pick your battles. If you want to change the monetary system, then don't start a regenerative business. Start a credit union or get into politics and put your energy into that. The day only has 24 hours, of which you sleep 6 to 8 hours, and it's easy to overload yourself and then end up not finishing. So ask yourself, what is my capacity? Take a moment to open your calendar right now. Look at last week's last week's activities. How many actual working hours did you have? What was paid work? What was administrative work for your business? And write that number down. Your time is a limiting factor. Once you hit capacity, you can either keep going until you are exhausted, or you have to hire. When you have to hire, you have to pay a wage and become responsible for them. So be realistic with the capacity. Estimate it conservatively and give yourself some room to breathe. It's also up to you to decide if you want to scale up after you have hit your capacity or if you want to keep it at that level. Are you building a team or are you a solopreneur with an assistant? Then ask yourself, what are my services and how much income do they generate? In order to do that, you either need data from the past to calculate an average, or you need a productized service that has a specific scope and cost. As a startup, you don't have historic data. For a forecast, you need your services or product figured out. Yeah? I used to work hourly, which made it easy to calculate my capacity and profit. But it also put me into a weak spot because if I worked faster, which I do, I will earn less. My natural drive is to optimize and make things more efficient. I can't stand dilly-dallying. I'd rather just get it done. So in order for me or you to earn the same in this situation, you'll then have to find another customer to work for during the extra time, when you could have also just charged a project fee instead and used the extra time to work on your business instead. I'm not advising against an internal hourly rate that you can use for calculating your services. But when you present an offer that's based on an hourly rate, customers tend to start making unreasonable comparisons. They start focusing on the hourly rate instead of the value you create. If you multiply the number of services with the profit you can make from them, and you end up with something below your goal, you will have to adjust the parameters in order to make it work. And it's much cheaper to make this mistake on paper in a spreadsheet than in reality. Don't get into something that doesn't have a realistic chance of becoming profitable. Now here's the $1 million question. Tim, how am I going to become profitable? I'm going to share a framework with you now that you can implement right away. And it's called the Dream 100 framework, which was popularized by Chet Holmes. And it aims to focus your energy on a list of 100 contacts. So, who should be on your list? Potential clients, the companies and organizations you dream of working with. You know better than me who that could be. And if you don't know that yet, it's time to think about it. Is there a large farm nearby that that would make a great client? Think about this from multiple angles. Geographically, is there a business whose mission aligns with yours? Think about a testimonial that this client could give you after you've worked with them and how that could have a lot of sway in winning new and similar customers. Another aspect is the financial power of your dream clients. If your dream clients don't have a budget or financial means to pay for your work, can they really be a dream client? I have been struggling a lot with this because I personally think that community composters fit in my image of what a dream client looks like. But then again, these organizations are notoriously strapped for cash and often rely on grant funding. It's not really an ideal client. I've realized that an ideal customer for me would be a company with at least $1 million in revenue. I would put them in a position where they can pay for our services and are at a scale where investing in marketing makes sense to them. Don't get me wrong, I'm also working with smaller companies, but the Dream 100 is really about finding customers who are in a position to actually work with you. I've tried years to fit customers in a service that they can't afford. And I'm like you, I'm in it for the mission. My mission is to make compost mainstream. Yeah. Instead of abandoning this specific customer segment, I have actually created a different service, one where the number makes sense in a spreadsheet and where I can deliver value to them and where they can afford it too. In marketing, we call this product market fit. Okay, I think you get the picture now of what a dream client would look like for you. Now, your Dream 100 list will also feature other contacts, not just potential clients. This list also features strategic partners and people with influence. Strategic partners are businesses that vertically integrate in what your service is. Someone who works in the same field but isn't a direct competitor. Think of businesses that are adjacent to your service. Businesses that you could recommend and that will recommend you. Think of businesses that could provide a complementary aspect to the service you do. An example is a local food waste hauler who picks up coffee grounds from a coffee shop. Could the coffee store maybe sell some of your back compost or have an infographic about your service with a QR code to your offer? Or is there maybe a locally owned florist, a yoga studio, farmer's market, grocery store, or some sort of co-op? What about local landscaping businesses? You get the idea. All you have to do is close your eyes and do a virtual tour of your city and then the who is who of your area. If you are new to your community, I would recommend a Google search for your local business directory. Many cities feature a list where local businesses can have a profile. Another avenue would be to use Perplexity AI. I've tried this out for you guys and did an example, and I think it's a wonderful starting point. Here's the prompt that I used, so just kind of replicate this. I put in, I'm running a regenerative landscaping business, just an example, use your own business, in Pasadena, California, and I'm building a Dream 100 list, and I want you to research potential strategic partners in my local area. Can you make a list? That prompt returned mostly names of other landscaping companies. So I did a follow-up prompt saying, can you find partners that are vertically along my value chain and not direct competitors? I'm looking for complementary businesses. This then returned a list of actual businesses and organizations in that area. And here are just some of the examples I found at Pasadena Water and Power, and they offer a turf transformation rebate program and a free workshop on water conservation, which would align with a regenerative landscaping business, right? Any other example was Sacred Space Garden Design, a landscape design and installation company in South Pasadena that focuses on water, waste, and low maintenance landscaping. See, both of these make sense. They're in Pasadena and they're not competitors. They have an audience and they could funnel people towards your business. You could ask them to collaborate on a workshop with them, or you could become their go-to compost supplier or their go-to compost consultant. And the other example is a landscaping design company. If you aren't offering design work, but you are focused on making compost or compost tea application, and this company would be a great partner. They could recommend you to all their new installations. This sort of partnership will be so much more cost effective than running ads on Facebook. These would be all warm leads recommended by someone the customer already trusts. There were 10 results for this query, and you could prompt the engine to continue with the list to see more results. See, I've never been to Pasadena, but I could still dive into this exercise. In many communities, there are already folks working on these adjacent things that are in line with a regenerative future. People who are natural allies to your mission. So go find them, put them on the list. I've covered potential customers and strategic partners. The third group of folks you want to add to your Dream 100 lists are influencers or people with a following. There could be some overlap between these strategic partners and that third segment. And you don't have to look for influencers with a huge following of irrelevant people. Is there maybe a chef who has a few thousand followers on Instagram who is also foraging or using local ingredients? A councilwoman that has been outspoken about any of those things I just listed. Heck, you could even contact your local plumbing company if they have an audience and seem to care. The reason why you are adding this segment is because your own following is either still small, because you're just getting started, or it might have become stagnant because you've stopped actively networking with other social media channels. The reason why you are adding this segment is because getting on another person's platform, even just once, is going to expose your mission or your service to a new audience. Especially when you are just getting started, you'll need that extra visibility to kickstart your business. The other aspect of connecting with multiplicators is the transfer of trust. If the person has already earned the trust of their audience, it'll reflect back onto you when they give you a feature. It's the difference between a good friend of yours bringing another person to a meeting and saying, "Hey, this is Tim. We know each other from story time at the library. And he's really a chill guy," versus you trying to just talk to random people. "Hey, do you want to become friends?" Multiplicators are journalists who could read and review your book before you release it. They are local radio stations or news stations, people who run a Facebook group or host a podcast. The reason you are adding these multiplicators is because you can only reach out to so many people at once. It's called Dream 100 for a reason, because if it was a Dream 1000, it would be much harder to assemble the list and keep track of what you're doing. But with the right multiplicators, you could reach 1,000 people by connecting with just one multiplicator. With a great multiplicator, you could reach 10,000 people, 100,000 people, 1,000,000 people. Think big. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so aim high, and remember, it's called a Dream 100. So keep the balance between dreaming and reality. Good. I've gone over how to assemble your list. That is the first step. The next step is to develop a method of outreach that feels borderline cringe to you. If you don't think once, "Oh my God, will I be annoying them?" And you have to think again. Reaching out once is not enough. That is just simple math at this point. Sending 100 cold emails, maybe you'll get 20 to 50 people to open it, and from these 20 people, there might be 2 initial responses. So you don't just forget about the 98 other contacts you wrote in the list. You keep at it. The basic process of Dream 100 outreach here at the Compost Marketing Agency is a rotation of different touch points that we continue until we can pretty much guarantee that they have taken notice. We start with social media interactions in week 1. You start to follow them, and then you have to find a meaningful way of engaging with them in their comment section. Don't spam. Find something related or wait until the right post comes along. If you resonate with one of their older posts, then share it and write an opinion about why this post resonates with you. Add it to your stories, tag them. I certainly read it when someone shares one of my posts. It's a good way to get on their radar. And then in week 2, we will send an email. You can keep this super simple and just email everyone individually. You can write an email to everyone in person, or you could draft something that you send out to all of them. Keep in mind that the more specific this is to the recipient, the more likely you'll get an answer. If you're thinking about drafting emails in advance, you could also segment this into the 3 groups I just talked about. One for the potential customers, one for strategic partners, and one for multiplicators. Each one with an appropriate angle. When sending emails, I like to write a list of subject lines and see if opening rates or answering rates change. This ties into something very important that I need to tell you. Don't get discouraged if it feels like you're getting doors slammed in your face, or phones hung up, or emails just deleted. It's much more often about them than about you. A deleted email, maybe the person just didn't have time right now, or the topic you chose didn't resonate with them. An abruptly ending phone call, maybe the person just has gotten too many robocalls before. But none of these things are reasons for you not to call or send an email. Just because email spammers have abused the system and robocallers abuse the phone system, it doesn't mean that you are. You have hand-selected these contacts. You have a relevant offer. I give you permission to contact people. Here it is. Okay? Let's get back to the rotation. In week 3, we will call. Does calling others sound like a dreadful thing to you? There are 2 options here. Ask someone else to call them, a partner, a friend, hire an assistant or company that is offering this as a service. The other option is to shift your perspective. When you call directly as the owner, you have an incredible opportunity to learn about your customers. Who are they? How do they tick? It's a chance to get so much information in very little time. Sure, you'll hit a lot of voicemail boxes, you will hear a lot of I don't have time or I don't need this. And besides those generic answers, you'll also hear other objections that I want you to write down. This is market research that you're doing. If people keep saying, I've got this covered, then you'll ask how. And you'll learn that there is competition in town or that they are rather doing this themselves. And then you'll ask why are they rather doing this themselves? And you'll get to new conclusions. They're critical to your business. Objections are an opportunity to learn. Write them down. Getting objections and unsuccessful calls are also discouraging. But keep in mind, you are calling for those golden conversations that will happen, I promise you. If you keep calling, you will reach folks who want to listen, folks who will give you answers, folks who might even want to meet you, and then hear even more. So keep calling. A successful call starts with you being positive about the call. If you don't believe in yourself, you will sound like a person who doesn't believe in themselves. And you'll sound like someone who can't be trusted. But if you stand up, lift your chest up and tell yourself, I have every right to contact this person. I have positive intentions. I wish good upon you, and my service offering is valuable to you. Then this will shine through. With just your voice, people know within split seconds whether or not they would have sex with someone else. People know within a few seconds whether or not they want to keep listening to you. So be prepared and know what you want to talk about and what it is that you would like the other person to do in advance before you call. Write a script, then write an iteration, and then call a friend and get into some role play. Use the script to train, but don't read it like a robot. Pivot to keywords rather than reading while like full sentences. Hi, this is Tim Steckel. The reason for my call is X. Same with email subject lines. Your first sentence is going to make or break this. If people just keep hanging up on you, don't give up. Change the first sentence. After your first sentence, allow a pause. Give the other person a moment to think. Even if it feels awkward and you want to keep talking, press your tongue against your upper teeth and wait. When thinking about your ask, start small and with something that is easy to say yes to. Hi, this is Tim Steckel. I also live in Pasadena and I'm currently organizing a free event for sustainable business owners. And I would like to invite you. It's in a couple weeks in the Green Gecko Bar. Hi, this is Tim Steckel. I'm a Compost workshop instructor and was wondering if I could hold an event at your business. I think our missions are aligned. Hi, I'm Tim. I'm in the midst of starting my regenerative composting business and I'm really in need of some feedback from you. Can you please help me? I think you'll get the idea. And your first call is just really to establish a connection and some rapport with that person on the other line. Okay, I need to move on now or this is going to turn into a cold calling phone training. Week 4, we will send a handwritten letter or postcard. Get creative. You'll stand out from the junk mail and invoices with just a few simple touches. For example, We have cut cardboard boxes into postcard-sized pieces that we write our message onto. And this makes sense because we are sending them to people in the organics recycling space. So for those people, seeing a piece of cardboard repurposed already communicates so many things in a subtext that you don't even have to write on the postcard. If at any point you'll receive a reaction, you can either remove these folks from your list because they made it abundantly clear that they're not interested, or you're lucky and have established a new connection. And at this point, follow-up is important. But I don't want to get into follow-up now. We will repeat this rotation of weekly touch points for up to 3 months, or until we have enough warm leads that we can work with. Once your warm leads run out, you can pick it up again. And if you have the time, never stop until you've got the whole list either crossed off or moved to the follow-up stage. For you, this rotation might look a little bit different. If you're a local business, doing an in-person visit would be something I'd add to the rotation. This was just the basic Dream 100 framework. Assemble the list and then persistently reach out. You've got the framework now. Let's talk a little bit about the implementation. You can do all of this on handwritten notes. You can do all of this in an Excel or Google spreadsheet. You can use your email, or you can make it a little bit more efficient by using software. We use our software for this, the Compost Toolshed. It's a CRM software that integrates emails, calls, notes, workflows, so that we can stitch it all together in a way that makes it easy to just work down your list once a week. There are other platforms out there that have these functionalities. If you currently don't have a software for that, feel free to reach out to me afterwards and I'll show you ours. The most important thing though is that you get into doing it and that you can keep track of what you're doing and who you've contacted and what the reactions are. Don't get caught up in the weeds. Get going. Don't overcomplicate it. Get started. I hope this framework will help you to kickstart your business or breathe new life into your existing business. Customers are the foundation of your business. Don't just wait for them to magically appear on your doorstep. Yes, it would be great if word of mouth would be just enough to fill your calendar. But that's unrealistic. Outreach is often frowned upon and that's why it's underutilized by folks like you and overused by shady businesses because they understand that it works. Pushy and spammy businesses do a lot of outreach and it works for them. You run a purposeful business, your success rates will be much higher than theirs. Outreach is the single most effective way to find customers, and it's cheap. It just takes time, a few resources, but compared to paid ads on Facebook, it's very cost effective and you'll start loving it. That's it for the educational part of my presentation. Don't forget to make a copy of the worksheet I created. Link should be in the description or on the Circle app. I hope this was encouraging to you and that you will take action and start reaching out to people. Before I close my presentation now, I would like to make you aware of a new group that I'm starting March 1st. It's a supportive group, and if you have any sort of goals for this year that are aligned with this, like consolidating your digital tools, automating repetitive marketing tasks, or executing a multi-channel marketing campaign, we just want to get more done in a group of like-minded professionals, then this could be for you. If it doesn't sound like you, then feel free to hit stop now and continue on to the next presentation. If this resonates with you and you have any of those goals, then here's my idea. I'm envisioning a small group where we work together on our own projects. We will be working together and everyone is going to be supportive because we share a common goal, and that is to make compost mainstream. We're compost change makers, no envy, just love and support, joy for the wins of the other members, and learning from our mistakes too. We speak a common language, we are respectful, love nature, and are working towards a regenerative future. Besides composting, our common denominator is that we are using the same marketing software, and that is our Compost Toolshed. My Compost Marketing Agency is providing you with a treasure chest of a software suite. I'm inviting you to visit me in my Zoom room next Wednesday. I'm also going to put the link in Circle, and I'll be sharing my vision there further. If you don't have time, more information and registration for this meeting is at www.change-makers-community.com. I'd love to see you there. Anyhow, thanks for listening until the end, and have fun and keep on learning with all these other presentations. And like Matt said, don't forget to do the pull-ups.